Hello, everybody. Gonna give it a minute. It's time for class. We have had so many storms and tornadoes. It's been crazy. So I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to join tonight because of that. People with power out, internet out, damage to their homes. Just keep everyone in your prayers. And there's more that's supposed to come tonight. All right, go ahead and get started.
Hello, everybody. Jennifer Smith here from Hidden Garden Oasis. Today's class is all about yarrow, or yarrow, because some people pronounce it like arrow with a Y. This is one of the herbs that goes along with our theme for the month and the monthly subscription box of Herbal First Aid. So we're going to talk about medicinal benefits, contraindications, energetics, and also how to identify it and how to harvest and cultivate it, uh, the, the uses for it, and how it is good for specifically um, first aid as well. So let's get into it, everybody.
Okay, so this is what it looks like. It has these clusters that look like umbrella blooms. Um, there's different colors of yarrow, but the white is the most medicinal. So the common name is yarrow, or as I said, yarrow. So like arrow with a Y. The Latin name is, y'all know how great my Latin is, Acacia uh, millifolum. We'll say that's right. Other common names are, um, it's been known as milfoil or man's pepper. Botanical family is the Acacia family or the daisy family. And the parts used, basically all the aerial parts. And aerial just means anything that's above ground. So you're talking about leaves and stems and flowers. So now we're going to talk a little bit about harvesting and cultivation. So if you do, we usually use the aerial parts, but if you do use the roots, you'll want to try to harvest that in the fall. The roots should be nice and large for you there. I personally use the aerial parts. Um, lots of, so basically, like you just saw in the picture, there's lots of little flowers, and they kind of grow in clusters and make almost like an umbrella. Here, I'll show you the picture again. And kind of make almost like a little umbrella there. See? All right. Um, they like bees and pollinators absolutely love it because the flowers are so fragrant. So if you are somebody who also has honeybees or honeycombs and you harvest your own honey from those bees, these are good to have in your garden. Which I would love to get into that. I'm scared to get stung. um, so the flowers are kind of feathery, like I said, they're very aromatic, and that draws those pollinators in. Generally, the flowering tops are the most medicinal part of the plant. Um, again, that is an aerial part, so it is a part that you would use for medicinal purposes. And that's due to the concentration of the aromatic oils. The leaves are higher in tannins, so that's why we use the aerial parts, the leaves, the flowers. The root, if you do use the root, uh, can be harvested, um, like I said, in the fall and used for local pain. And it likes dry heat. So these are plants that will do well in some place in a drier atmosphere, probably like Nevada, Texas, Arizona. Here in Missouri, probably not so much, but that doesn't stop me from trying. It is best if you grow them in a container, even though they're not part of the mint family. They do happen to become spreaders if you're able to grow it and you give it the right environment. Um, they thrive in neglect. What does that mean? Well, that means basically they can survive if you're somebody who forgets to water them. Like I said, they're like dry areas. If, you know, you're somebody who forgets to take care of it, this plant would thrive in your neglect. um, as I said earlier, the white ones are the most medicinal, the white blooms. And you want to, the harvesting period is after a period of dryness. So, like, say you have a drought, you want to harvest after it's been dry for a while. Because they thrive in neglect and it loves the dry heat, so or the dryness. So you're gonna want it let it kind of go past what you normally would, and then you could go ahead and harvest it. I know it's a weird one. All right, history and folklore. So I just put a couple bullet points here, but I'm gonna read you some more information here. As you know, I pretty much focus on the medicinal aspects and the uses of it and contraindications, but sometimes I like to throw in a little extra just for funsies. So basically, this plant is rooted in Greek mythology. Native Americans use it. It's in Chinese folklore, and it's actually been found fossilized in graves over 60,000 years old. So, I mean, this plant goes way back. So, let me see here. Let me get into a little bit more for you. All right. I will do my best. So, there's a legend in Greek mythology that the Greek hero Achilles was born. When he was born, his mother held him by his ankle and dipped him into um, what well, basically it would be like yarrow tea. So a tea made of yarrow, and she held him by the ankle and she dipped him in, and that's how he has his Achilles heel, because that's where she was holding him. That's the only part that the yarrow tea didn't touch. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the story of Achilles, but did you know that he was dipped in yarrow tea? I know I didn't until I learned that. Um, also, Achilles would use the herb to heal his soldiers' wounds when they went into battle. So that's interesting. Um, so, indigenous. The Cherokee, Iroquois, and the Mogan tribes used yarrow as a digestive aid and to treat a variety of cases of inflammation and swelling. So, see, there's your first aid there. Um, so, this goes way back. And then, if you are into the astrological aspect of it, the planet it is aligned with is Venus. The element is water, and the polarity is yin, which is in Chinese medicine. So and magical uses if you're into that. Spiritually, and um, yarrow is a boundary plant. So it's seen in on a medicinal level with its antiseptic, antimicrobial properties. Um, it is known for psychic protection, especially when dealing with grief associated with death or dealing with compassion uh, fatigue. So basically, somebody who is very overwhelmed with grief and loss, it is good for that. So we're gonna go back to medicinal uses here. So that's just a little extra tidbit there. I don't always share that. Oh, I guess it wanted me to share again. It went back. So energetics. Let's go ahead and get into energetics. If this is your first class or you don't remember, it's thundering out there. I'm hoping we don't lose connection. But energetics is so we as living beings have humans have energetics. The plants as living plants have energetics, and conditions have energetics. And what you want to try to do is get everything in balance so that your body is in homeostasis, which is the way it is supposed to function. So I happen to be cold all the time. So I run cold. My skin is dry, so I'm dry and cold. You can have a condition like a cough, like a wet cough. So that is wet. Um, if you have a fever, that's warm. And then plants have their energetics. So if I'm cold and dry, I'd want to use um, a plant that is cooling and moistening. So that's just a little brief overview of energetics. I try to touch base on that every time we talk about energetics for each herb. So the energetics of yarrow is it's a bitter. And usually when you hear that a plant is a bitter, it's going to have something to do with your digestive system. It is pungent. It is aromatic, which means it smells very strong. That's what draws those pollinators in. And it is cooling and it is drying. So those are the energetics of this plant. Of course, the way you prepare it and how you use it is also going to help with those energetics. All right. Next, we are going to talk about herbal actions. Okay, it is an anodyne. That means it can help with pain. It is an um, antiseptic. I'm sorry, starting a storm here. It is an antiseptic. It is an astringent. That means it can draw stuff out. It is an anticoagulant. That has to do with your blood coagulating. It is a bitter, like we talked about. It is a diaphoretic, so it will help your body relieve moisture. So it will help with urine production. It will help you sweat if you have a fever. It is an anti inflammatory, a stimulant, tonic. It is an antimicrobial, a hemostat, which means it helps with the bleeding, stopping bleeding. That goes with the anticoagulant. And is a hypotensive. Okay? This is the reason why this plant is part of the herbal first aid classes this month, which goes along with the this month's theme and subscription box herbal first aid. Okay? Now we are going to talk about medicinal uses. All right. So it can be used to stop bleeding. Um, it can be used on open wounds. It can help stop nosebleeds. It can help alleviate or stop heavy menstruation, so your periods. It can help with ulcers. It can help with hemorrhages, internal or external, arthritis, stings from bugs. It can help with gastric ulcers, leaky gut, not leaky guy, fever, urinary tract infections, swelling, polycystic ovaries. It can help with um, prolapse uterus, and yeast infections. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. This plant has so many uses because it has so much good stuff in it. This is definitely a staple herb that you want to have on hand and in your herbal first aid. There's a few things that I have made up on the website that includes yarrow, especially when it comes to first aid. I have a hemorrhoid salve specifically that has yarrow in there that helps with the astringent, shrinking that hemorrhoid and moving that blood, getting that circulating. Um, so there's lots of things, and that's included in the subscription box as well. So it is very good to have right there and ready to use. Even if you do not have it in a form like a tincture or a salve or anything like that, and you just have the herb, you can take that herb and put it directly on the wound. It'll stop that bleeding. All right. So, contraindications. There's not a lot for this herb as far as contraindications, but there's a couple. There's always a couple. Of course, pregnant women or women who are trying to get pregnant. Um, it's contraindicated for you. And contraindicated means it's to caution or be wary or don't use it if you're on this list. It can produce photosensitivity, so that means sensitivity to light. Um, so you don't want you could burn easily in the sun if you are taking it. And people who are allergic to or sensitive to the daisy family, you would want to be cautious. So it's contraindicated for you, depending on, if you're going to get a rash or if you're going to be anaphylactic. It just depends on what your reaction is. So be cautious. As that's also, I see the mint family is huge. The daisy family is huge as well. And then I've got some synergies, and this plant plays well with others, as you can see. You can pair it with uva ursa for a weak bladder or urinary tract infections. You can pair it with echinacea. Um, that was weird how this word is in a weird place there. Chaparral, um, Oregon grape for infections. So any of those to fight infections. You can pair it with calendula or licorice root or marshmallow, not the kind you put on s'mores. There's an actual plant called marshmallow. Um, or comfrey for infections. You can pair it with arnica or St. John's worts, and calendula for bruises or varicose veins to get that blood moving. You can pair it with peppermints and elderberry for colds. So this is, like I said, this is a staple that you need to have on hands at all times, so you can whip something up and help with just about anything. Okay, next we're going to talk about preparations. Basically, you can prepare it basically how you can most other herbs, but we are kind of really trying to focus on the first aid of it all. So, of course, you can make a tea of it. But when you do make a tea, if you do make a yarrow tea, you want to keep it covered while you're steeping the herbs in the hot water to ensure that you keep the aromatic and volatile oils inside the tea so you don't lose those when it evaporates. Um, You can do an infused oil as a first aid tool for the varicose veins and such, and then you can take that oil and you can turn it into a salve if you want. And that's basically adding beeswax to the oil and melting it in there and putting it in a tin or glass jar. You can make a liniment spray. So that's basically infusing witch hazel and for a first aid spray. You can do it as a poultice, and a poultice is if you have it fresh, or you can even use the dried herbs and you just add um, water, or if it's a leaf that you have, you're out in the wild, you can chew it up with your saliva, and you can put it directly on the open wound. You can make a tincture, and that's using alcohol, 80 proof alcohol, 4 to 6 weeks, or apple cider vinegar, and putting it in a dropper bottle after you strain it. And you can take it either orally or you can put it directly on the wound as a tincture. You can make a septic powder. So basically, so you have the dried herbs that you want to use, like say the stop bleeding herbs, because yarrow is really good to pair with shepherd's purse because they both help with hemorrhage and stopping bleeding, which shepherd's purse is going to be next week's. Say you grind those down to a powder and you put them in a container and you just put it in your first aid kit. You can use that powder and put it directly on there. This is also good for pets. Um, you know how when you go or bring your animal to the groomer and then clip their nails, and sometimes if they clip it too short, that your pet will bleed, and they put like a powder on them. So if you ground that down, you could use it for the same way. If you cut your own pet's nails or they get any kind of injury, you can put the powder directly on that, and it'll stop the bleeding within a few minutes. Um, I did that with shepherd's purse when I cut my thumb once. You can make a sitz bath or a foot bath with it, and put it in the hot water and put it on the affected area. You can make a flower essence of it, and that's basically just flour and the fresh flour and water, and you can make a spray. It smells so good because it's such a strong aromatic flower. You can make a smudge, and what that is you can dry it and wrap it together, and then you can light the end of it. And it'll burn, not like an incense because they're thicker than that, but I don't know if you've ever seen sage smudges where people burn them to get rid of bad spirits in their home or office, but something like that. And it's also good as a bug repellent that can go along with the liniment spray. So you can make like a bug spray with it to keep the mosquitoes and bugs and gnats and all the critters off of you and your pets. So those are just some different ways there that you can use it, how to prepare it. All right. So I am already to the subscription box. So the May subscription box, like I said, is the herbal first aid. If you use this code box1, you'll get $10 off. You just go to the website. There is a link in the Facebook page, Hidden Garden Oasis, that you can just click on it and go straight to the website, or you can type it in your Google search and you will find it. I am on YouTube, so you can subscribe and follow me there. On Facebook, I have Hidden Garden Oasis Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, which I'm still trying to figure out. I have an Etsy page, our shop, I should say. Uh, so I am out there. So if you have any questions, you can call me, you can email me, you can go to the website. I do see patients. You can schedule a free consultation if you would like help getting started on your natural healing journey. If you need any kind of specialized formulations, again, I'm a certified naturopathic practitioner and an herbalist. and I would be happy to talk to you and schedule that appointment and find out what you need. If you are on any kind of medications and you're taking any kind of herbal supplements, please make sure that you let your doctors know, and vice versa. If you're on any prescription medications, please let your herbalist, naturopathic practitioner, holistic specialist know what you're on, because we do not want to have any kind of contraindications. We do not want to do any harm. We want to help you. So there's my information right there. The website, Hidden Garden Oasis, Facebook page. I don't have TikTok written on here, but it's HGO. So Hidden Garden Oasis. Um, Instagram, YouTube. There's my email address and my phone number. So if you have any questions whatsoever about a specific herb that I've taught about, or any of the products on my Facebook page or Etsy shop, just shoot me a message and I will respond to you. So if there are no questions, let me go back to this and make sure. Yeah. I do not see any questions right now, but I don't see the chat either. So, all right. So, if you have any questions, you just reach out to me and let me know. And as always, thank you so much for allowing me to help you on your natural healing journey. Next week is Shepherd's Purse. Watch for that class. It'll be next Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, as long as there's not a massive storm. Thank you.